Hey, Justin, welcome back to 2024 and the V series we have started last year or previous year. And welcome back. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Cheers to 2024. I can't believe it's already been a year. I mean, it was, I think we did our first one while the World Cup final in Qatar was happening. And I don't know where that time went, but here we are.
I don't. It's probably more than 1.5 year. I think we split. When was the Qatar? November 2022.
December of 22, I think, is
Yeah,
was the
yeah. There
final.
you
So
go.
yeah,
Good, good. Thank you
I
for
don't
your
know where that went.
contribution and bringing the experience and yeah, knowledge sharing. It's great. Thank you. I know you're a busy man, but you're still committed to give back. This is fantastic.
Absolutely. Always enjoy our time together.
Yeah. Look, today we have another interesting topic, and I think this is important for many organizations and many project program managers. So we're talking about reimagining organizational culture to drive business result. So let me read out my first question. In what ways cultivating a customer-centric organization culture as opposed to adopting product-centric or industry-centric approach lead to tangible improvement in business outcomes?
Well, for my experience, our company is very customer oriented and customer centric. So it's easy for me to answer it from that perspective. Is with the nature of our business and technology just continuously changing by the day.
Yep.
It's I think it's very important to be attached at the hip with your customer to not only of what the things are happening on the ground, how can we improve, what are the things that you'd like to see in the next rendition of a certain product or service. Being attached at the hip to your customer. I mean, that's the greatest way of getting feedback, whether it be positive or negative. And so I think instead of adopting a product centric where you're adopting a product and then putting it out and trying to figure it out, you're kind of behind the curve. Where I feel that if you're a customer centric type organization, you're really getting that real time feedback, I feel, and being able to almost, quite frankly, create a partnership, not in the legal sense, but in a friendship and a collaborative type relationship to where it's just naturally happening within your discussions on a daily basis. I think those really the difference between the two, and how for us as an organization and the company that I work for, I think that's what makes us successful, being able to adapt on the fly to what our customers are needing in a very ever-changing environment across the spectrum.
Exactly. And that's build customer loyalty, long-term relationship and repeat business actually from them. They like your work, they want, okay, they are the right people, and they can adopt according to our needs, and there you are, they have a long-term relationship.
You're exactly right, Dharam, and especially as some of these larger opportunities, when you have those type of relationships, it makes it very hard to, as an incumbent, to lose the recompete type contracts. And of course, when you're talking billions of dollars, you maintaining your market share, winning the recompetes of the work that you've had for so many years is very vital to a business organization. And so, that being that customer centric, I think just further cements your standing. And like you said, builds that relationship to where it's customer loyalty. And with a lot of times, why would they want to start over when they're responsive to our needs and being able to deliver for us? It becomes a natural thing.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to grow the business.
Exactly, that's the best business. Instead of, sometimes, of course, you're going to have your new blind business, but your best business is the ones that continue to come back to you.
Exactly. I mean, that's where, and I have been trying to maintain that way from my personal mentoring program, group mentoring program, so that, I mean, of course, I'm seeing the result out of that because people like you and others, they not only come back for other programs, but also talk to your colleagues and your friends, and that's where business grows.
Word of mouth is the best kind.
Exactly, cheapest marketing. Actually, that's I should not say cheapest, but it's actually the best way of getting people know you. So, right. All right. So my next question is: what essential component contribute to cultivating a positive and result-oriented culture?
Well, I would say first and foremost, you have to have a culture or within the business that your employees or your team feels empowered. I think when your employees or your team feels empowered, the project or whatever you're working on becomes something that they feel that they own. And I think when you get team ownership within an organization, the sky's the limit, quite frankly. I remember in the company before that we ultimately were purchased by Parsons. That's what made our company successful. We were a very small company, but we punched a lot bigger than we were. We were very small, but we were competing with the big boys, so to speak. And that was because we all had buy-in. We felt that we were part owners, quite frankly, and we would do what it would take, even though we didn't get caught up in what our job titles were. Oh, that's somebody else's job. We were all in, and hey, what do you need? Where can I help? And that's when you're really achieving excellence, when you have a team so close knit like that. So I think those are that in of itself, feeling empowered is a big component. But not only that, especially with the recent retirement of Nick Saban, who in the United States is one of the best college American football coaches to ever do it. When you see an organization like the University of Alabama and their football, and it is an organization, and he was the CEO of that business, quite frankly. And when you look at his 17 years coaching there, it's just continued excellence. And he always talks about the fastest way to ruin an organization is to put, let's just say folks that are a little bit more lazier in an organization full of, overachievers, because it will ruin it in a heartbeat. So you really have to make sure that when you're adding someone to an organization, make sure that they have those motivations as well, and make sure that they're good fits. It's not necessarily, who's got the best resume. It's making sure that they are a good fit, quite frankly, I think is even more important than a resume. Anyone could make a great looking resume, but how they fit and their personalities, I think is quite frankly, even more important than anything. So I think from a personality and a drive standpoint and a empowerment standpoint, I think that creates the best, most positive results-oriented culture, quite frankly, because when you have all those intangibles together, you're going to create success. And at the end of the day, success is contagious.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, anywhere, if you have, as you mentioned, positive environment and people are motivated, they're excited, they like to come to the work, and because they're enjoying the work, they're hitting the goals, and organization is growing. That's where it is. But if you have a negative, or people are just get results, I don't care how, just pushing them to the limit, and with the limited resources, you lose people. You lose the employee loyalty. They run away from as soon as they have an opportunity, they run away to find better job opportunities. Sometimes, so even they don't have a job, they just go. I don't care about it. It's too much pressure. But positive environment, creating a positive environment, of course, is the responsibility of the leaders and everybody in the leadership position. Everybody that flows from top down, and they have to work and create an environment where everybody feel excited, happy, and they like to come to work, and they're hitting the goals, and that's where it is. As you mentioned, when you are hiring person, look for the cultural fit, not just okay, he got the best resume, he's coming, he did an MBA from Stanford and from that place, and yes, you probably need them, but you also need to see the cultural fit in the organization.
That's right.
And actually, most organizations do that when they interview you. Of course, they look at your technical knowledge, your project management, programming skills, but they also like to see how you're going to fit in the organization culture. Because if you don't, you will feel uncomfortable, and organization will uncomfortable. There is no fit. So yeah.
Yeah, I even learned the hard way at one time many years ago. I had a smaller team, and and they were great. Our customer was happy. Everybody on the ground was happy. I mean, it literally was, you couldn't ask for more. And I needed to add another individual to our team at the time, and had great resume and interviewed quite well. But at the end of the day, when he got on the ground, he wasn't the same person, and it ended up causing a huge rift within the team. And then, it ended up as a domino effect. The customer starts asking, what's going on, and that was a mistake that I made, and of course we rectified it quite quickly. But again, that what I just said comes straight from experience. It has to be a good fit. And when I look back, and I realized I missed a couple things in the interview that would have given me that idea that, hey, you dig further into this, because you might not have a fit, and making sure that one thing that I decided in the future is to have those particular teammates that that they're going to be working with on the ground each day. Have them talk with them, just have a conversation. It doesn't have to be interview type discussion, but just to let them kind of feel them out and see what they're about, and making sure that that's a good fit. I think it's helpful to be able to let them have, again, it makes them feel like they have a say in it, and feel they have some ownership as well. So overall, I think these are some of the good practices, and of course what I've learned.
Yeah, and one thing you mentioned, that you allow get your team members, the people going to work with him, to interact, and they also, as you said, they also feel, oh, they are contributing to the whole system, whole process, and they may feel excited to welcome this person because he's the right fit in the cultural in the positive environment. Or they can find out, hey, no, I think this is a bad move. I think better, even if you want to select, maybe put in some other role, not in this role, because he's going to have a negative impact in the environment, and the customer face, and all those things.
Yep, exactly.
All right, let me ask my next question. How can organizations navigate potential resistance to cultural change, especially when reimagining established norms and practices?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a topic that I think probably every company on the planet is going through right now. Of course, after the post-COVID and remote working and all this, and everybody's kind of trying to figure that happy medium out, where, okay, are we allowing remote work? Are we requiring everybody to go back to the office? But yet the organizations are sitting there going, gosh, we really cheapened our overhead because we don't have as many offices around the world. And so, there's a lot of different things going on there with that. But I think more than anything, I guess, to simplify it a little bit more, really you got to be able to just have a good pulse of your team, and understanding what is required from the customer's perspective, but also to being able to, as a senior leader, when you're bringing in your team or having a team meeting, let them know, like, hey, we're making these changes because of X, Y, Z, and these are the reasons why. Or as you're doing that cultural change, when you have the existing team that's, let's say, been with the organization a long time, again, having their buy-in up front, then you have leadership that's going to be able to push those changes down throughout the organization. But again, making them have the buy-in and understanding, like, hey, we're doing this because of this, and being able to explain the bigger picture, because as we all know, that doesn't always get down to everyone. So from that perspective, even that is even a challenge to do. But I think, quite frankly, being able to explain to the masses, hey, this is why we're doing this is why we need to change, whether it be because of the new marketplace and the world supply chains, or whatever it may be. I think being able to be transparent and open and give them the bigger picture ultimately will help to kind of get rid of some of that resistance, so to speak.
Yeah. So, it's a very important area, especially when you bring in change. When, you need to demonstrate what is in for them.
That's exactly right.
And if they can get the point, yeah, the change will be easier. But if they see that it's all about the company, the leadership, and profitability and the shareholders, then it will be difficult. So when you talk to the team or people in employees, you have to talk in their language. They're expected for what they're expecting from you, why they should change. So if you can get them to ask for the change, your job is done. Make them to ask you. If they can be thinking, okay, you're imposing, people assist. Why should I change? It's all going good. Why are you asking me every 3 months a new change, digital transformation, this transformation? But if you demonstrate why this change is important, when, by doing this, we have a more customer base, we have more, of course, more work and more money, and, your bonuses and this and that. And when you say that should mean it as well. You're just not saying for the sake of, hey, you're going to get bonuses. There's a meaning behind that. Just tell them this will impact positively on your bonuses. That's why we have to change. Otherwise, so you need to get their buy-in. As you mentioned, buy-in very important. Their support. Don't just enforce. You have to do it. Let them ask. Then job is done.
Yeah, if you just bark the orders or sit in your ivory tower, as I call it, and and just give orders, it's just not going to happen. You have to show them, like you said, what's in it for me and why are we doing this? To be more competitive or whatever. I think then folks will understand more. But when you just come and bark orders, it doesn't end well usually.
Yeah, and also, there are many times when you bring a change to the organization, there is impact to the people. People's job, people's working time, their location has to change, or they have to go for training program. You need to provide some incentive to them. Why, let's say I'm going to lose my job. And of course, if you ask me to help you to lose my job, I will be the last person to do that. So you need to say, okay, Dharam, we know your job is going, but this is our plan for you to do. We're going to move into this role, or we will be compensating you, or something like this, so the people don't feel threatened and resist. Of course, your HR has to be playing part in this, and your legal team has to play in the part, but it has to be a good discussion.
Well, and I think even, let's just take it for an example. When a senior leader makes a decision, say a CEO makes a decision, unfortunately, they're just not going to be able to understand the cascading domino effects down to everyone. And so I think the leadership needs to have the flexibility and understanding of, okay, well, the reason we're making this change is for this department to be more efficient, but they didn't necessarily see the unintended consequences of, okay, well, yeah, we've made this division more, efficient, but we've also just added a ton more work to another separate entity. And so, undoubtedly that's going to happen. And so from a leadership standpoint, making sure that you have the flexibility, and quite frankly, when you make the announcement of the changes, make it known that, hey, we understand that there's probably going to be some unintended consequences for this decision, and we need you as a team to let us know, because our purpose of this is not to add more work or, maybe make one place more efficient, but hurt someone else. So, I think that humility and having that flexibility and being upfront about that, I think will help as well. I think that just shows good leadership, and I think the team will, again, understand and appreciate that perspective.
Yeah, and you're right. If you're being upfront and being honest, transparent, people do understand. What? Okay, organization not doing well, and organization cannot afford my salaries. And they cannot afford to have so many people. And obviously they do understand, but they say, okay, I've seen this happening. They said, don't worry, we'll take half the salary, and everybody take half the salary, but let's keep whole everybody else. So people do find workaround if you are upfront to them. If not, you're losing them forever. They would, when the right time comes, you can hire people. You will not get the same people back because they don't appreciate the way it was done previously.
Yeah, and when leadership isn't up front and honest, most employees can smell it when things are not going well, and that's when they immediately start looking for jobs. And especially in today's so competitive work environment, I mean, the competition for top talent is quite frankly is brutal. I mean, it's a beautiful thing as an employee right now to have options, but as an employer, you're trying to protect your talent as much as you can.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, what are the merits, inherent hurdles of operating within a formalized corporate workspace?
Well, I think, especially with this one, I would say in a formalized corporate workspace, from the merit standpoint, I think you're going to have much more, how do I want to say it, mature processes and procedures. And I think that, within that environment, having those processes and procedures, you're likely going to have maybe some efficiencies. And because of those processes, you've probably reduced your risk a little bit. But I would say in that same breath of air, from a hurdle standpoint, because of all those processes and procedures, it makes you a little bit slow to react, and you're not as agile, and it can be detrimental to a company, especially in the larger organization with a lot of approval thresholds that have to go through, where you're just not going to be able to respond to your customers' needs as fast as they need to, especially in this type of a environment. So I think from that perspective, I'd say those are the merits. And of course, the biggest hurdles, I would say probably the more obvious ones that immediately come to mind. There's when you're not in as formalized of a corporate workspace, you probably can take on a little bit more risk and be a little more loose with things, I would say, and not have to go through as many approvals. So I think, in my mind, I think those are the kind of the merits and the obviously inherent hurdles of the two differences there.
Yeah, look, when we have been seeing this corporate workspace, you go to office and very formalized structure, everybody in the approval process, and it can be good because you're doing checks and balances, but too many red tapes can, as customer, you may take 5 days. Customer was expecting 1 day, and you lose your customer loyalty. They go away. They will not like it. So you need to balance, to get back to the work, get the customer's requirements, resolving the situation faster than going through the process. I know one company I was working at, a very big company, an IT company, and somehow they're winning business. I don't know how, but they are winning the business. But and for smaller thing, like as simple as opening a firewall rule, they're saying 7 days. Hang on, for this kind of thing, you need to improve your process. No, but they have to go to approval and look, and it's great to have these checks and balance, but streamline them, make them working for the customer, not for yourself.
And that's what happens is sometimes in the larger organizations, if they're not, continuously evaluating their own processes and procedures, it can get to the point where, you're working for the enterprise of your own company instead of the customer, or your process costs you as a company more than the action itself is worth. And you're like, what are we doing here? So being on guard for that, I think is very important, even as a big company, that they become more and more, larger, and of course need to have more and more checks and balances, that you have to be able to recognize that in a larger organization, you're going to probably have a little more bureaucracy, but you have to be able to have that ability to I guess, thread the needle and be able to act in a very agile way for your customer. You can't forget the customer at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's what we started talking customer-centric. We need to be, customer focused rather than your internal focus or egos and other things.
Yeah, and then you get folks kind of, as I like to call it, protecting their kingdom within their own organization. You're like, and what are we doing here? We're we're forgetting what the mission is.
Exactly, the reason for existence.
Yep.
Yeah. So to what extent can your project team collaborate successfully with sponsor from a fundamentally different core culture?
Yeah, I've been blessed to have many experiences in this particular realm here,
Yeah,
and working with different cultures around the world. And
yeah,
for me, I keep it simple, and I know I've talked about it in other podcasts with you, and from a stakeholder engagement standpoint, of finding commonalities, of common interests, and being able to talk about them and bringing them to the forefront. Finding the things that you can agree on, and focusing on them instead of all your differences. That is the easiest, most fastest way to get to the point, and finding those things in similar interests, which we all undoubtedly will have them. You just have to find them. I think that is the easiest, quickest way to be able to collaborate successfully with folks from any part of the world. That's what has allowed me to be successful here in the Middle East, and I'm even kind of expanding into understanding how folks in Europe do business versus the Far East. I enjoy that challenge, and it's something that I really enjoy learning how business is done in different parts of the world. And I've kind of been able to pick and choose from all those different experiences to kind of go, all right, I like how, this culture does this. I don't like how they do this, and I kind of make my own way of how I do business. So kind of the best of all worlds. So, but again, at the end of the day, no matter what, it's about people. And, again, finding your commonalities, some things of common interest, and using them to build rapport and building the relationship. And then ultimately that allows, because you have that good relationship, that allows you to have the difficult talks of the more serious things that you probably don't agree with. And I think when you have that relationship and have the tough talks, when you're coming from a mutual common understanding, you can solve anything. So I think that's really the simplest way to put it.
exactly. And I mean, this is very important, and especially when you're working in different culture, first time going out from, let's say, from Western world to like Middle East. You are the classic example, and you have been working in Middle East for a long time. And maybe you have a culture shock. Oh my God, I never thought like this. So, do some, and yeah, probably had that. And but when you talk, make sure you do some cultural awareness about the people, of the religion, about the way people act or react, or the meaning of various words. Of course, you cannot speak the language, but you don't want to say something which can have a negative meaning in other language. So, you do spend some time on that to understand all those things, and try to gel with them. Yes, you are coming from different culture. They are from, you can't expect 100 people to change for you. You have to change for them. Little bit. I'm not saying you lose your identity, but you need to merge, mix up with them rather than they mix up. They try to accept you, and they try to learn your way of thinking. But it's actually, I think from my side, you have to be more adapting, more ready to change rather than expecting other people to change.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. And for sure, honestly, in the Middle East, I never really had the huge culture shock that, believe me, I was expecting one. But when I arrived here, I literally was like, wow, the language barrier really isn't a thing, and so I
Yeah,
got really fortunate with that. And from there, you really just kind of, I'm able to observe, and from there, you just kind of keep building your understanding of things. But at the end of the day, we're all people, and trying to better our own lives and for our families and ourselves. And there are so many things that no matter where you go in the world, you'll find many more things in common than differences.
Oh yeah, yeah. And once you build rapport, you will find that hey, we are human, and yes, we have a different culture, we have different language, but we talk same. We love same things.
Yeah, I mean, perfect example is living in Doha for many years, and we played golf, and you look around the table every evening, we'd be sitting around a table and a small little meal, and we'd all be talking about our golf rounds like men do, and talking trash to each other, and you look around the table, you got folks from literally every corner of the globe and all religions, and we're all just having laughs and having a good time. And if you were to look at the media or anything else, none of us at that table should even be talking to each other. And it happens every day over here, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, like look, let's not worry about what media is trying to actually, is going on, like at Twitter or you look at internet everywhere. Leaders are trying to think the way they want you to think, basically. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I
There's
mean,
a big, beautiful world out there to explore. Go and do it.
yeah, don't get mixed up because my leader is saying that this is the religion, this is don't worry about this. You learn, be open to learn from others, and gel with them, and you will find very good things. Lots of positive sides. I mean, from my side, I'm very fortunate that I'm working with almost every part of the world, and people come from different languages. Some problem, some have language problem, and the people like I get people say, "Hey, Dharam, I don't understand or speak English properly." He's like a Spanish person, and yes, initially we had some difficulty. I'm having difficulty to understand the person. He's having difficulty, but after a couple of sessions, we're like, hang on, I don't think we have any. You can understand, I can understand, we can talk. Of course, we have to
Exactly.
adjust our tone. We have to slow down. We have to do something else to adjust ourselves. That's what it is. When you go and work in different culture, you may have to adjust your style. You can't be same person as you were in the New York Stock Exchange, where everything happening fast. Now you're working for a school with the school teachers, the principal in Middle East. You have to adjust yourself according to in the environment you are in.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, my soon-to-be wife speaks almost five languages. I'd say Arabic, English, Italian, and French, and knows quite a bit of Spanish. And I always enjoy, especially when she'll be talking to me in English, and then all of a sudden, as the sentence goes on, it goes from English to French, and she doesn't realize it. Just. But of course, I give her a hard time, but I'm going. I'm giving you a hard time, but you're the one that knows all these languages. I only know one, so.
Yeah. All right, great. Thank you.
You
So
bet.
why is conducting a company culture survey crucial for assessing organization dynamics, fostering employee engagement, and promoting growth?
This is a great question. Our company just got done doing one late last year, and I think the best part about it is it's one thing when an employee is sitting there having their annual reviews with their boss, but of course you're not necessarily going to say everything that might be on your mind to your boss.
Yeah,
And so being able to do a survey where it's anonymous, um, of course, taken seriously and not just somebody taking an opportunity, but truly putting a lot of thought into it, making sure it's anonymous. I think from the employee perspective, it makes them feel like, okay, I got this off my chest now, and it's something that hopefully they recognize and they take action. And from a senior leadership perspective, having that survey, I think that also, from a leadership standpoint, you recognize that you're not necessarily going to get all of the thoughts of your personnel, that are directly talking to their boss. Being able to be anonymous can allow folks to open up a little bit more. And I think from both sides, I think it's very beneficial and promotes, as the question says, growth and engagement and assessing the organizational dynamics. I think there's benefits on both sides where the employees are able to truly give their real thoughts and find some improvement. And of course, the senior leadership's going to get a real pulse of how people feel. And I think the real, how do I want to say it? The real action from it is okay, you can do a survey, but at the end of the day, if senior leadership doesn't do anything about it, then it's not going to be worth anything the next time you do it. And so as long as senior leadership follows through, recognizes the results of that, and in our organization even did report the results to all folks and let everyone know that the things that they're the common themes that were coming up were going to be addressed in this next year, and they laid out specific steps on how that were going to be addressed. I think that's a great leadership perspective to let folks know that, hey, we do take these seriously, and we want to obviously guard our culture and making sure that it doesn't get affected in a negative way. So I think these surveys truly are crucial to an organization's continued success.
And very important, and you correctly said, survey, yes, we do surveys, but what do we do after surveys? Are we taking action after that? And is there learning? So yes, the leadership should take, okay, this is not working, it's working. Why it's not working for them? What are the things we can do? I mean, there may be another like 10 different problems, and you cannot solve all of them. You cannot make everybody happy. But let's say using Pareto, 80-20 rule, okay, let's find 20% things which can make 80% people happy, and use and demonstrate that. So, hey, these are the problems identified, and these are the strategy we have, and this is how we're going to fix some of the problem, or making the environment more mature and more enjoyable to everyone.
That's right.
And people do recognize that you cannot fix everything in the same time. Yes, but you have intention to make some adjustment. Leadership is ready to listen to us and make some adjustments. And that keeps the employee loyalty, and they love to work for the company, and all these things are very, very important for organization, especially when you have competition to keep their resources in organization.
Yep.
So yeah, make this as a part of your yearly or 6 monthly thing, to have a pulse of what really happening within your employees and your team members. As a project manager, program manager, they can just run the survey within the team and see how things are going, or ask somebody else outsider to run because if you're running, people may not get you the right feedback. Maybe get HR to work, do some surveys and get them to do anonymous reply, of course. Yeah, people get worried. Okay, what about my position after this?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. How do remote work and virtual collaboration impact organization culture? And what strategies foster cohesive virtual cultures for improved business outcome while prioritizing employees' well-being?
Yeah. The first part of it, obviously, with the remote work and virtual collaboration, certainly impacts organizational culture. Call me old-fashioned, I guess. I truly think that when you're in person with with your teammates and being in the same room, nothing can replace that entirely. It just can't. And even in business meetings, when you're with your customer, everybody wants to talk about looking at with Microsoft Teams or Zoom or whatever, we can save money on this. I'm sorry, meeting with a customer face to face, it can never be replaced, in my opinion. And understanding body language when you're in the room, and it can help you understand where the customer's sitting, but also not only that, it can help build that relationship. You can't do it just in virtual collaboration alone. So from a strategy standpoint, to foster more cohesiveness, perfect example is my organization. From business development side, most of the folks that are on the same team as me, I never I've even met them in person. I've met a lot of them virtually, and so we had an offsite for 2 days, this just before the Christmas holidays, and it was so refreshing, and just it made me kind of recharge, and being able to finally put a face to the name, and being able to sit down, have some laughs, and find out what makes them successful, and things that I can implement in my own daily routine. Those are just things that you'll never be able to have online. And so I think anytime you can find a way to get the team together in person, there's just no substitute to that. I just there's just that's my belief. And so even from an employee well-being, yes, I recognize that travel can be stressful and everything else to get everyone to a common place, and obviously expensive. But the feeling that your employees are going to have, and the team engagement, and the next time that you need something from another teammate that you don't usually talk to, well, you now have that personal relationship, and you can just be able to talk in a way that you weren't able to before. And so I think anytime that you can take advantage of getting the team together in person, that is quite frankly, the best, and really I don't even know of any others ways to make sure that at the end of the day, you're bringing your team together. And I think at the end of the day, when you really look back at it, again, travel can be expensive and stressful. But when everyone gets back to their respective places, they're going to look back and go, that was a great couple of days, and I'm so glad I went.
Exactly. Look, and of course we can blame COVID, and IT world is famous for that, because things are becoming so easy. You can be there like here in Doha, and I'm here. This is okay because we're recording a podcast, or
Yeah.
but if I have to work with you, and I rather come to Doha, you come here, because as you said, it's not just a face. It's more about body language, about the vibes coming out from each other, and your touch and feel. All this make huge difference. And I remember I've done so many virtual programs. I am personally, and I remember a few faces, not everyone. And you ask me, hey, yeah, I think you were in my one of the classes. If you ask me what a physical class when I did, I probably remember everything about, this person was in my class and this was that. And because, so much interaction, physical interaction. And so that's where, I'm excited by this. I told you, I'm excited about my tomorrow's PfMP class. And this is a kind of physical class after a long time with the 9 people in the class. I'm looking forward to that because, for 3 days with them, they learn and I learn a lot. And of course, the relationship and the long-term, whatever it is. But physical, as we talked about, virtual is great. As you said, saving money, saving time, and you in the comfort of your own clothes. But again, physical meetings and where possible. I mean, I like to take opportunity to go to visit the countries or visit to places. Running the physical classes or running the physical meetings cannot replace by anything else.
Yep. And I will go to the grave with that one. They cannot be replaced, and it's always got to be part of the business plan. It just has to be, and it allows you to, like you said, from a customer standpoint, being on the ground, you're going to understand things better that you will never understand on a Teams call or watching a video on YouTube about where you're going. You have to go and get eyes on the ground, get a feel for it, and get your toes, in the sand, so to speak. It makes a world of difference. There's a lot of folks that, they'll think that doing business in a certain part of the world is easy. Well, all of a sudden, when they finally come over to do it or look at it, and they go, oh, how do you even do this? Well, now you realize it's not as easy as you might think it is, and that's just because they hadn't been on the ground yet.
Yeah, I mean, I remember last year when I did a class for a company, sand company. They make sand in the in the West, in the Texas area. I mean, not only me, of course, I'm already getting ready for the program for 3 days, 4 days in advance, thinking about that, so much happening, going to there, driving there, and then seeing this sand company, how this functioning, and people teaching me my Spanish, and a lot of things happened in this discussion, not just meetings and virtual program, like virtual meeting, as soon as you finish, started and finished, you're done. You don't have some, I don't think you keep memories about that.
Right. And not only that, by you going to their work site, it makes you understand more about what they go through in a day. So as you're teaching a class, you can say, when you're PMP or whatever it may be, you can actually, put it in a way they're going to easily be able to relate. Yeah. You would have never understood that if you weren't there in person.
Exactly. I remember exactly what you said, in this class, the people coming from the operation area, this area, when they talk about, and when I'm taking the example, they can easily relate. That's fantastic. But unfortunately, we are in the world where things are becoming more and more virtual. And but only, as a company, as a manager, you need to see how can we look after, the team sitting other part of the world. It's also actually very important to spend some time to understand your team who is virtually away from you, because their well-being, there can be people start feeling silos. Okay, I don't know anybody, and sometimes, like my wife, we are here for 4 years. She has, she has changed 2 companies, but she had never, she met one way or other, but, mostly at home or it's virtual environment. You don't get the same bonding, when you go to the offices, you go out for coffee together, walk and talk, that's a different level. And people, you can share what's happening. But in virtual, as soon as the meeting finish, you go on to your job, doing one job, another job, and they go and somewhere else. You don't get. So I think you need to create that environment. One is, of course, you cannot get everybody in the room all the time, but create environment, have some activities, not just all work, and you sincerely talk to them, maybe out of the meeting, how they're going, what's happening, what else can you do as a project manager, program manager. And if possible, bring them in maybe a team environment, or maybe get them everybody on the bowling club or somewhere. Hey guys, let's meet. That can be another way of building network.
Exactly.
Look, thank you, Justin. Again, it's another wonderful discussion with you. I'm happy to pick this topic, and it was, the discussion we had today was, very nice. And I'm sure people watching this, and they will get to know the working in a bigger organization, and how you have done the work, and how you deal with some situation, and what you will do next time. And we all are learning, and hopefully people get some experience from our discussion, and they get some positive things from this podcast. So once again, thank you, Justin, for keep coming with your thoughts and discussion and sharing knowledge, and looking forward for many more such discussions.
Always a pleasure. We are off and running in 2024. Make it a great year.
Yep. Everybody enjoy 2024 and beyond. And we will see you again with a new topic and new discussion.